Up next, user Onel5969. This is an L. This person comes through and tags people who are notable as non-notable / the article should be deleted. Okay, and if one does that, there is a responsibility. So as someone who is published in peer-reviewed journals, one is supposed to look to see if there are references. So the number one thing I do with this, so this is this is vandalism because they're trying to take something down entirely. So let's say someone put up an art mural somewhere. This person's like, I don't care if the community agreed on it. Take it down because I don't like it because the person's a homosexual. Take it down, I don't like it because the person's a 13, 14 Hungarian girl. So that's who this person has attacked, and I have responded to by doing what they should have done. So what they should have done is done something like a quick search engine search. So be it DuckDuckGo, Google, Bing. I don't know if Ask Jeeves is still around. That was the one I was trained on, Ask Jeeves, before Google existed. I'm that old or that young to be trained on a search engine that was something other than Google. And so what I do to address this one is typically they just have no idea what they're talking about, or they're too lazy to do it. They just assume nobody will respond in a timely manner. So just take and be like, okay, I included a bunch of Hungarian articles. So Vivian Jackal was somebody who was attacked by this person, as was Fabiano Ferreira. And so for the Vivian Jackal, I took and introduced American articles, or articles from American-based company, from be like, okay, in addition to having the metal notable criteria, she has coverage on more than one continent. So just bolstering it up that way. The other guy, so the other person, Fabiano Ferreira, is a Brazilian artistic swimmer. I found independent references, right? Just get it from like 4 different publishers plus an Italian publisher, articles that don't cover every single competitor in the event. All right? Put it on the page, take down the notability and request for deletion tag and or tags. I did what this person does best. So vandalizers tend to be lazy. This is kind of the perfect example of that type of vandalizer. And up last is the user master of staying awake 2 type of vandalism. This is somebody who comes through and says people are retired, or changes formatting in a broad sense for a whole community without consent of the community, or without the retirement actually being true. So this one specifically on my pages was Dean Ferris. So for the last one, Vivian Jackal was my page and Fabiano Ferreira was not. This one. And that relates to this because I also had they attacked one of my pages, Dean Ferris, and then a page that was not mine, Blake Pironi, when these people are not retired, saying that they are retired. And there are certain publishers in the swimming community, especially American-based publishers, that like to publish fake retirement announcements to force a person out of a sport. The companies did not necessarily start off that way, but have since de-established themselves as credible or reliable references for retirements. So this person will intentionally, knowing that, put them on the page. The Dean Ferris was a very interesting one where there's no hindsight reference provided, but they're like, this person's retired, and they cite a reference that says so-and-so will retire. And I'm like, to say somebody's retired, well, first off, go talk to the person, because that's not what Dean Ferris says, right? That's not what Blake Pironi says. On the pool deck, you can go and talk to them, and that's not true, so these references are lying. So it shouldn't be on there in the first place, but they want to assert themselves as a master, right? That what they say trumps whatever person's page they're writing on. So it's about trying to, and they vandalized the page, right? They put this misinformation, this fake news on the page with a reference that is not blacklisted yet, so I can't take it down. So instead, how do I address it? I bring it up on the top page. That's what I did for Dean Ferris. It's missing a reliable retirement reference, right? The one on the page, the publisher is no good. It says will retire, does not say retired. Just like do due diligence, and this person does not do that. So that's how I address it. Is changed the wording in the intro to, that's what I did for both Dean Ferris and Blake Pironi is, well, let's make it focus on something they have done. So instead of saying, is a retired swimmer, make it, is a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, or is the American record holder in the 200-yard freestyle. That kind of stuff is making it accurate, whereas saying is a retired or a former swimmer is technically not. So just switching up the style of the introduction of the article to address this, and calling it out on the talk page, because it's kind of like, well, if it's misinformation and they've said the person is retired, well then, okay, we need to address the misinformation and the publisher's misconduct. When it says will retire, technically it's not the publisher's misconduct, technically it's just this user's misconduct. So that one can be called out on a talk page for, okay, if this publisher is going to keep publishing misinformation, can we at least get it on the article that the person they're publishing, this person has retired, right? Kind of thing. So yeah, that's my experience with 3 examples of misconduct, vandalism type, because they're editing these articles that I made or other people made without our consent and not in accordance with the actual people themselves that the articles are about, or competition, for one of the examples. So yeah, it's an ongoing battle, but I've reached a point where I can actually start addressing it, and I provided some examples of how I'm addressing it.